Customer support might not be the first place you would look when you think of driving revenue for your store. But today, I'm joined by Lucas Walker from Gorgias to chat about how brands can leverage proactive customer support and a concierge shopping experience to increase AOV and drive up customer loyalty through Black Friday and beyond. Hey, I'm Stuart Bolcom, and this is the D2C Voice of the Customer podcast. Join me as I go behind the scenes with top D2C e-commerce operators to understand how they leverage the voice of their customers to drive sustainable growth. We'll be chatting about how they capture thoughts and feedback from customers, who owns the customer journey, what tools they're using, and how they translate what they know about customers into product and marketing that resonates and drives revenue. Whether you want actionable tactics for capturing the voice of your own customers, or just want to see how other top brands are doing things, this is the podcast for you.
It's funny in startup land, especially in e-commerce in COVID, you go from working with partnerships and events to obviously no events to jumping on the marketing team and doing a lot of content, and which ultimately leads down to product marketing and just a little bit of everything, especially as we're getting ready in for Black Friday. And you know what, it ties into what we're going to be talking about as well, but it seems lately I've been doing more and more customer marketing, customer interviews, which is really, really awesome. And it just, your customers are such an untapped potential. I mean, we see it in e-commerce. It's not untapped at all. And I think it's everyone has the math behind it that a repeat customer is so much more profitable than a first-time customer. And it's not even just the revenue, but the actual profit that somebody who keeps coming back to your store again and again and again gives you is just such low-hanging fruit. But everyone's always chasing a lower cost to acquire a customer and not really focusing on the profit, which is what we're all here for at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. That's what keeps the business going, what keeps the lights on, and what helps you grow, right? Is ultimately
exactly
what that profit number looks like. So let's get into that a little bit. I know we have a few topics that we're going to sort of dive deep on and really pull out some of your experience on today. But first thing that we're going to talk about is, Gorgias is a support tool. I know the sort of the line that you take with marketing is maybe a little less functional than others and a little more sort of business impact focused. So you sort of speak to that a little bit. Like, how can support have more of a business impact than just sort of checking boxes and ticking off tickets, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll pass it back to you or the audience. But what is more important than your one-to-one communication with people who have given you money? If you're a subscriber, that they have trusted you with your credit card data, they've given you your email address, your home address, giving you money. Like Stuart, if I were to talk to you, Lucas to Stuart, give you my home address, my cell phone number, my email address, my credit card number, and $80. I know you have the English accent, so 80 quid. Let's say I give you 80 quid. What would be more important than responding to me, maybe some family or close friends? But if you got some unread messages in your personal text inbox, you're probably going to get back to me fairly quickly. And yet customer support has traditionally always felt like such a cost, and to reduce the cost, get them off the phone as quickly as you can. And yet on the flip side, before they've purchased, it's, well, I want them in my store as long as possible, because the longer that they're shopping, the more likely they are to spend money. And yet all of a sudden, when you know someone can come back again and again and again, and if they get a lot of use out of your product, then why wouldn't you want them to come back? Perfect example of a company that does it really well is Supply. So, they went on Shark Tank, they launched their, I think Laura called it the Cadillac of razors, their single edge razor, and then they launched some faithful products. If I had a bad experience with Supply with the razor after they had been on Shark Tank, and it could be something as small as, they were inundated after Shark Tank and they never got back to me, I'm not going to try their face cream. But if I had a question about how to load the razor because it was different than one that I'd used before, I come back and I see that they have a new face cream, I'm not going to try it if my experience with them was just painful. And it could be a long time to hear back. It could be the wrong information, just being ghosted. There's so many, even awful hold music, like just that god awful, like that symphonics default tone number one, like all of these painful customer experiences. Sure, you might save 8 cents per interaction, but you're losing all that future revenue, especially for a consumable product.
That totally makes sense. And when you put it like that, it seems really obvious, right? That of course you should be paying much more attention, or not necessarily more attention, but you should at least be paying attention to the people who have gone through the process, have found your products, have paid for your products, and you have this potential.
Might pay for more products.
Exactly. Everybody knows that stat, right? That it's much easier to sell to an existing customer than it is to pay to a new customer.
It was from The Office, but it's literally the first thing in business textbook 101. It's 5 to 10 times easier to sell something to an existing customer than to go out and get another one. So that's kind of the caveat of using customer support as a profit generator. You have to have good support first. Otherwise, you're just going to be bleeding revenue, and get all of that in order. But then, so for example, going back to supply, if they have questions about, well, can I use, is this for a good skin routine? Do I use this before or after I shave? I have a beard. Can I use this? Using all those questions to help make the sale, but then adapt. It could even be the product images. If you see a lot of people asking, I have a beard, can I use this? Just for you and I are bearded guys. I had a little bit of a trimming accident yesterday, so my beard's a little bit smaller than it usually is. For all the audio listeners, I knew that I was recording and I couldn't have a big just gash that I put into my beard yesterday. But if we're looking at a facial cream from a razor blade company, we might be thinking, oh, I don't know if this is necessarily for me. But then you take a look at those tickets and you see, oh, well, you know what? 3% of all our tickets have the word beard in them. Maybe we should add some more bearded shots to our lifestyle images on the website and on Instagram, or even just other little things like that that will increase your conversion rate, and using your customer support data to drive those sales and that revenue proactively. And then you're also reducing your expenses because you don't need to have someone constantly answer that same question over and over again.
Man, you must have done this before. You're hitting all the questions that I'm going to ask before I ask them. So that was going to be my next thing, was like you mentioned that having good support is sort of the first step to turning support into a profit center. For somebody who maybe hasn't thought about sort of using support in this way and is sort of in that like cost saving mode, how can we reduce time to response, but sort of get people in and out of the support queue as quickly as possible? What's sort of the first thing to do? I mean, you mentioned a couple of things there, like going back and looking at previous tickets, but what's sort of the actionable steps to improving your support?
Yeah, so the best ticket is one that you don't have to answer, which sounds so counterintuitive. But if you want to reduce your first response time to absolute zero, the only way to do that is to prevent it. You can't reduce it to zero if they have to ask. And if you can use an image or bolster up your FAQ section before asking, and especially on higher ticket items, just put everything in your FAQ and your help doc. Because if you're buying, I think it's the 8 sleep mattress I haven't looked into it, but I imagine with technology, it's going to be a fairly higher priced item that maybe you would want to pay for over a number of months. That's the kind of item that just your support docs will have an impact on your conversion rate, because people just don't know and they're unsure about spending all that money. On the more transactional side of things, anytime that you have to answer a question that you could show them or make it really easy to answer on your own. Free shipping, for example. Hey, do you have a free shipping program? Use a free shipping bar up at the top to say, hey, free shipping on orders over $40 or whatever your threshold is. Use that to proactively address that. And then if you think of the total number of interactions that an agent can have in a day, then do you want them to be reactive, answering simple, easy to ask questions that you can either put on your website or automate through macro, because it's so obvious what the people are asking for? And that actually tends to be up to 15 to 20% of tickets are very repetitive and can be just single answer, pretty closed-ended questions from customers. So then you save 20% of that time to now be able to help people purchase. So instead of asking for, hey, does this work? Or, hey, do you offer free shipping? It could be, how are you sourcing your aloe vera? Or how much should I be using? And showing them how to use the product and get more out of it. And say, hey, is this available at drugstores? No, it's not, because between distributors, wholesalers, and slotting fees, the price would be astronomical. So we would rather put that cost into ingredients for you so that you can trust what you're putting on your face, and really helping customers understand why your products are better, or even why your business model is different, which was a huge thing pre-COVID of, can I get this in stores? Where can I buy this? Well, you're already on the website. Let me create you a cart right now and send it to you. Or you're already on checkout. Here's a discount code. And that's another thing too, is everyone's getting ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Start addressing discount codes. Even if you're not a discount brand, have something. If you give a discount at all, even for creating an account, for doing anything, have it pop up on the cart page. because people know that there's a discount out there. They see the apply promo code area. Just have something, even if it's for free shipping or a free product over a certain amount, say, really use that, or have a landing page that says, hey, we don't offer discount codes, but if you complete your order, we'll upgrade your shipping so that it's tracked. So offer something like that, like free expedited shipping on orders over 100. You can always offer something, or a free product that you, again, maybe it's the cream. Someone's bought 3-4 razors for you. Know that they're a VIP customer. Give them a little bit of product for free, especially if it's a consumable, and then get them hooked on it when they're asking you those questions. Because people know that they received a discount code when they signed up for the email newsletter. They add it to their cart. They can't remember the code. Is it welcome 10, welcome back, thank you, Independence Day 25, 20, like BFCM 2020. They can't remember the promo code. They're looking for it. Now they're not excited about their product. They're excited about their discount code that they can't find, and then they leave. So offer them something if they're checking to get that sale. And it's the retail equivalent of if you're talking to someone helping you buy, let's say you're at one of the TK Maxx or TJX companies, and you see some nice shelving, and you ask someone a question, and they say, oh yeah, here, let me bring this right up to the front for you, rather than, oh yeah, that's wood. They say, oh, it's great wood finish. I know it's a little bit big. Would you like me to take it to the front for you? So you're reducing that friction of purchase,
Right.
which is really what using support to drive revenue and sales comes back to at the end of the day.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I have to ask you this question because you sort of brought it up around discounts, and I've been listening to a lot of e-com and D2C podcasts recently, and this seems to be a hot button issue, especially with Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up, is should you discount? Like, what is the...
Yes. And I ran my store treats happen with very few discounts. I hate discounts, but here's the thing. You can't bank margin, right? At the end of the day, going back to profitability, have some sort of an offer. And it doesn't even need to be a discount. It can be a new product launch. It can be overstock cleared. It can be free gift with purchase, free expedited shipping, access to a community. It can be anything. It can be gift code for your next purchase. Customers want discounts. And let's be honest, even though the S&P hit record numbers today, there are still a lot of people who are struggling. So now more than ever, having a discount will offer, but will make a difference. But even looking at Gorgias, and that's pretty cool with the call data, I took a quick look of how people heard about us, and they said, I heard about an offer or a deal. People like a deal. Let's look at the biggest company in the world, right? So you talk about brands. You're not going to compete on sales. You're going to compete on brand. Are you a soda pop drinker, Stuart?
Not particularly, although my wife informed me the other day that ginger beer does count as soda if you look at the ingredients. So
it is a soda.
I guess I am in that category.
So when you think of sodas, and I hope I don't get in too much trouble here for mentioning the second tier brand, but if I said, hey, would you like a cola? And I gave you a Pepsi, you were kind of expecting the red can.
Yeah.
Right? So you talk about brands.
Yeah.
One of the largest brands in the world, Coca-Cola. If discounting didn't work, why are they in the flyer at the grocery store 26 weeks a year? Like even Apple discounts.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Nike has outlet clearance stores and they moved it off of Amazon.
Right. The thing that I think is really interesting and is something that you brought up, I really liked your sort of buying shelving example, because that's an example of an offer which is not necessarily a discount, right? And I think that's an important sort of distinction, is that it doesn't always have to be a percentage off or a dollar off. Like you said, everybody likes getting a deal. Like, what is the thing that you can help move somebody
People
from?
like to feel special, and nobody likes to feel nickel and dimed.
Right.
And if you see some items on sale, discount box, and you know you had a discount code earlier when you joined the email newsletter, that's how you manage your customers as a brand up until this point. Don't all of a sudden start saying, oh, well, we're artisan handmade, we can't afford the discount.
Right.
Then don't offer it in the first place. Focus on the quality. Say, hey, our shelving, we give you extra hardware, everything you need to install. We send you the tools. We'll even record a video specifically for you, Stuart, because our shelving is all handmade and we want you to have the ultimate experience. We send you a level and everything with it. If it's that kind of experience, then don't do it. Don't do a discount. But if you have the inventory and you can do a discount, then absolutely do it. A great example, just going back to supply, was after Shark Tank, they ran a special landing page. They did a bundle And bundles are, again, a great way to discount in exchange for you're giving that discount code, but you're getting a higher order value. So then you can combine it with, say, a free shipping order. So get our Black Friday bundle. We've assembled you a kit individually. This would cost $175. You're getting it for $99 plus free shipping.
Right.
No promo codes needed. Head right to checkout.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all sort of in the positioning of the offer, right?
It is.
It's got to match your brand.
It is. Are you Terry's house of discounts where everything's always 60% off and nobody ever pays full retail, but the discount price just becomes the retail price? And I think that the mistake is using discount interchangeably with promotion. So it's some compelling reason to do something new. If it's a truly new product and it's a lot of excitement and it really is limited run and you know you're going to sell out, you don't need to discount. If you have extra inventory, if you have run promotions in the past, run a discount. But people do like to feel like they're getting a deal. They like to feel like they're getting something. And I think customers are smarter too. I think that a lot of non-e-commerce folks, I was up to cottage this weekend with some friends and they said, oh, I added it to my cart. And then they emailed me back with a promo code. So I always add to my cart and wait for the discount now. So it's sort of what customers are expecting. But it was interesting because instead of the discount code, it would have been better for urgency, especially if it's a clearance sale that you're running. Just say, hey, we only have 3 left in stock. Other people are adding this to their cart. And you can do that really easily with the dynamic email and say, hey, other people have added and do product title, have added product title to their cart. Get yours before you're gone. 5 people have added 3 of this item to their cart.
Right.
That's another way to create urgency without discounting. So there are a few different ways there, but absolutely always have some sort of an offer or a promo or a BOGO or something.
Cool. So I want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, which is you can use support as a way to sort of really drive what are the right experiences for your brand? What are the places that your customers are getting stuck? What are the things that can reduce the friction from where they are now, which is sort of, in that consideration phase, they maybe have something in their cart, maybe they're looking at a product page, and actually get them to pull the trigger, and sort of how you can use support to help drive improving that performance. So you mentioned sort of you can go back into old support tickets or historical support tickets and look for common phrases, common words like beards, for example, if you're selling face cream. What are sort of some other examples of that? Like, what are typically the sorts of things that you're looking for? And I guess maybe this sort of we combine with another question, which are like, what are the most common things that will come up that are sort of low-hanging fruit for improving that experience?
Yeah. And I mean, first off is just by offering support. A lot of places don't. So by having support, that in itself is a competitive differentiator. So that's definitely something. The other thing is by really using support to help with some of those transactional asks. So things like getting a review or maybe some user-generated content with your product, because there are so many just small ways to do it. And I think it's going to be harder and harder to get reviews as customers have purchased more. Instead of now you are one of 5 products asking for a review, now you're one of 10. So when you have that highly engaged open rate or that highly engaged interaction with the customer, that's the time to ask them to do something. If you've just launched a new product and you're still sitting at a handful of reviews, ask for a review in every interaction related to that product. That will help your conversion rate. And especially if it is a high ticket item, offer to help them shop and be like a concierge and offer that white glove service. Yep, you know what? We ship it in, we assemble it. Let's say it is shelves because we're using that example as well. Right. We ship it to you. We install fully white glove. We take all the garbage with us. Let us know if you have any questions. And all of a sudden, you're thinking about, wow, that would be really nice when I have to install these shelves. I'll pay a little bit more for this. So there's a few different things there that you can do. And then finally, if you want to go on offense, use the live chat to your advantage. You have somebody on your page. And I always say, because people get intimidated by live chat. And if you've got a really popular blog, you've got a lot going on, yeah, it will be intimidating to have 1,000 chats a day, but focus close to cash. What is one of the key metrics that businesses are always trying to improve? Their conversion rate. So if you have somebody that's added to your cart, but they're not converting, have that chat pop up and say, hey, how can I help you? Just like the shelving example. Hey, how can I help you get this to your home? Hey, you've got excellent choice. Order now as you prepare for Black Friday. Order now for Black Friday, or order now so that you can have products by Christmas, by Festivus, by the holidays. How can I help you? offer them that discount code. Say, hey, great choice. If you order today, we ship out all orders out within 24 hours. And even change that depending on how you go. Hey, let us know where you are. Do you need this in a hurry? Our current processing time is 3 days, but we can help you out if you need be. And start driving that engagement to push. And what we see, it actually has a 28% conversion rate when you start engaging with customers ahead of time. So by helping them make a purchase, this crazy concept, which when you explain it with a retail analogy, it's like, oh yeah, I should do that on my website. But your website's not a vending machine. If you were to walk into a store, let's say you're walking into the home decor store and everyone's just standing there not offering to help you, it's kind of weird. And you stop in the shelving section and you're looking at the shelving and you're like, why is this one $40 and this one's $400? What am I looking at? It would just be weird if nobody was there, especially if you just saw the cashier staring at you the whole time, which is kind of what that live chat widget is. Don't pop it up. You can be reactive or you can be really proactive. If somebody's gone to your website, clicked an ad, become an email subscriber, clicked on a product and added it to their cart, they probably want it. Help them make that purchase.
Totally. It is funny that when you use the retail analogy, it becomes really clear how strange it is to have a totally touchless buying experience, right? There's always somebody in a retail store, even if it's just somebody walking around stacking shelves, there's somebody there who you can ask questions, right?
Well, would you like a fun, I don't have the exact stat, but do you know why you welcome people into your store in a retail setting? You greet them within 5 seconds?
I have also seen the stat and I am blanking on it, but no, enlighten me.
It's loss prevention. So when you welcome people to the store, I mean, if they were going to steal something, they probably feel like they've been seen, but also it just creates a little bit more reciprocity. And all of a sudden, I don't want to steal from somebody that I know. So that's why I had a lot of, when I worked for the LCBO, the big liquor store here in Ontario, that was a big thing to always greet people and address customers because it makes them feel welcome, but it also greatly reduces theft. So in-store, it has a totally different reason.
That's interesting. And although the idea of reciprocity is interesting too, right? Which is sort of where like having an offer or having a discount can come in as well, right? If people feel like they're getting that deal, or they feel like you're giving them something, it makes it much easier for them to part with their money.
Exactly.
In the checkout.
Let's go back to the retail world example. If you walk into my store and I say, hey, Stuart, come on in. I got 10% off everything. What do you want? What do you want today? Let's help you out. All of a sudden, that feels pretty fun. Right. But if it's just join my newsletter for 10% off, tell me your first name, last name, email address, and birthday. It's so sterile and impersonal.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense. And you have that data, especially with e-commerce, to give that really personalized experience. So why wouldn't you?
Right. And you do the same thing with reviews here too, right? It's the same thing as if you go into a grocery store or a deli or whatever, and they're giving out samples so that you can try the thing before you buy it. Like maybe you're not actually going to do that in D2C, although you do see brands do 100-day trial and buy and return.
Risk-free trial. Yeah. But you can do it as a free gift with purchase. In preparation for our new launch, our next 100 customers get a free sample of our face cream or whatever it happens to be. So then it drives that initial sale. But then with the follow-up, it's, hey, how did you think of the trial? We're looking to get it reviews. Here you go. If you want to do a subscription, your first subscription will be 30% off that order. Right. And all of a sudden, that's a pretty good deal. Yeah, let's do that.
Right. Yeah, and I imagine you can do the same thing with reviews too, right? Like if you know the types of people who are coming to your store and sort of the jobs that they're trying to do and sort of their buyer persona, you can put reviews in front of them that match so that they can see, well, this could be me, right? Yeah. I know that it worked for these people. Why shouldn't I go ahead and get that benefit too? So to sort of start wrapping things up here, I want to sort of talk a little bit about, go back to that actionable stuff, right? Like most common support ticket sort of topics that you're going to see, and sort of what are your 3, 5, however many tips it is to sort of start making that shift from cost center to profit center, sort of bring this back full circle.
Yeah. Number one, connect everything that you can. Have that data going back and forth. Not only is it faster, it's more accurate as well. How many times have you pasted the wrong link in something, or even scheduling this podcast, it went to my personal Gmail instead of my Gorgias email? Have those data connections, not just for speed, but for effectiveness as well. So tip number one. Tip number two, if you're just getting started with live chat, focus close to cash and have it on the cart page, followed by the product page. And you can even do just your best sellers, really target that. Number three, load up your macros, know what people are asking and have that done, but don't just be sterile. have it with your brand tone and brand voice as well, which could be a whole nother podcast of finding your brand tone and brand voice. Here's support team autonomy. This is something that's really, really underrated, and we focus on a lot of the metrics too much, but give your support team autonomy. They know it's like, really treat them like humans. And finally, if it's going to be inundated, know who's best at which channel. So if you have someone who can run 5 chats at a time, but they suck on the phone, give them the choice of saying, hey, do you want to skip phones today? Do you want to not do emails? Do you want to do live chats? And then have them focus on that, especially, and go even deeper. If you know their product knowledge, have them focus on that. So this is more for the larger customers. I was up at the cottage. I was at a Canadian Tire this weekend, which is a big Canadian superstore. It's a little bit more than Walmart, but they've got a lot of departments. If you have people asking about the fishing gear, and you sell fishing gear and cooking stuff and everything, and patio furniture, don't have the same people answer all the different product types of questions. Have product experts and assign them to those questions, especially as who knows what's going to happen with retail stores. Even if they're open, consumers probably don't want to go. So if there's just one thing that you take away from this, adopt that physical retail mindset for your customers, because this could be the first time that they do all of their holiday shopping online. It's they're getting used to online shopping as well, just because we're in this world all the time. Like my friend who said that she puts in her email to get the cart abandonment emails. That's something that we've been doing as e-commerce industry insiders for the last 4 years. So don't feel just because you didn't know how something works or you do it a certain way, that that's how your customers do it, which really comes back to listen to the data at the end of the day and use the data to inform your decisions.
Cool. Those are really great, really actionable tips. So one final thing, for somebody who is looking for a great sort of role model or like a brand to get some inspiration from when it comes to sort of how they handle this on-site support experience. I know you mentioned supply earlier, but who do you think does this best? What's the gold standard of support in e-com right now?
Gold standard for support in e-com. On the more independent merchant side, I really like both Supply and Beard brands, sort of a yin and yang. One for the beard, one to get rid of the beard. Both of them handle it really, really well. A little bit bigger, Bird Dogs does a great job. Deathwish Coffee does a great job as well. We have some stories of how they've used Gorgias on the website. But to go with not totally be a Gorgias shell and to think of how other companies are impacting what people expect from you, Wayfair does a really good example of customer support as well. They're pretty industry leading, but their methods and process might not be as relevant to smaller, more independent brands. But it's always good to know what the big players are doing who are really impacting customer expectations. Like when Amazon made free shipping at $35, we all kind of had to either put it at $35 or justify why it wasn't. So pay attention to what some of the big players are doing and see how much of that you can replicate with yourself.
Amazing. Well, this has been really fun. So much great stuff in here, so much actionable stuff for everybody who is thinking about how they can increase profit, and hopefully you support to do that going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Where should people go to learn more about Gorgias and find you online?
Yeah, so it's gorgias.com, like the Greek philosopher. So GORGIAS.com. I'll say that one more time. If you're driving on the highway and you need to pull over to write it down, your 4 ways on GORGIAS.com. If you type Lucas from Gorgias, I should come up somewhere. Nobody ever does, but if you were listening to this and you're on your iPhone, shoot me an iMessage, 416-388-4470. It's not newsletter. That's my actual cell phone number. Shoot me a message. Let me know that you were listening to it. But yeah, and just one thing to really let everyone know, Stuart, is if you are under contract with Zendesk or another incumbent help desk, we will give you Gorgias access for free during the length of your contract, so you can just walk away and switch right over to Gorgias at no cost to you.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for doing this. We'll link all this great stuff up in the show notes, but thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stuart.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the D2C Voice of the Customer podcast. If you like this conversation, I'd love for you to leave a 5-star rating and maybe even a review wherever you get your podcasts, or reach out to Lucas on Twitter and tell him how much you like this interview. I can't wait to hear what you think, and as always, you can find the complete show notes, more episodes, and our newsletter at notnps.com/pod.